Yeah, my shit was just moving a little slow, but all right, y'all, we live. Coming off a victory Monday. It's a victory Monday.
Yes, sir.
Coming off the win yesterday against the Texans. Keep in context, this is not your same old Houston Texans. This is a team that just dropped 34 on the Jags, 30 on the Steelers, held them to low numbers. So we was facing a really hot team. CJ Stroud came in hot. Defense, of course, did what they needed to do, held them to 19, only scored one touchdown at the end of the game. Offense picked it up from like more than the usual weeks. Of course, we all know if you've been paying attention, the offense been struggling. But Ritter had his best game as a pro, remained undefeated at home. The passing game finally looked like an NFL passing game.
Yes, sir.
Drake London and Kyle Pitts both had big games. Uh, so yeah, what's your before we dive into like general stuff? What's your takeaways from this game?
Well, I can say walking into the stadium, I barely seen any Texans fans because they bought all the seats at the bottom. Um, I was in section like 201, and it was like a sprinkle of Texans fans. So I was around a whole bunch of of the home team because I sit on the home side. But it was a good showing from a lot of our fans. It was a good atmosphere to be in. There were some empty seats, but we'll leave those empty seats for the people that ain't supposed to be there. Um, as far as like overall game recap, I did see a lot of improvement from the offense. I did see some folks that were, you know, given more play time and folks that had to step up and play in place of injured players yesterday. Storm Norman being one of them as a lineman, stepping in for Caleb McGarry. And I was listening to Arthur Smith's interview earlier this morning, and he had already made it known like Caleb McGarry's injury is nothing that's going to hold him out. But seeing Storm Norman step up and step in when he was named what was called was a vote of confidence because uh, you never want to see a lineman go down, especially with a second year quarterback, but you never also want to have no depth or have bad players behind your starters. Um, I can say D. Alford stepped up in a big way. Um, Nobody really knows who he is, but I got a couple guys that know who D. Alford is on my coaching squad, and he's from the A, so we got to give him his props. Um, we actually like looked like a pro team yesterday, but one thing I can say is offense has got to score more points and can't have too many self-inflicted wounds going forward, especially playing against a Washington Commanders team that's coming in with a hot front seven and coming off a bad loss to the Bears last week.
Yeah, most definitely. Um, just pulling up the stats here. As you can see, pretty much outgained them all the way through total yards, outran them, even though we didn't really have a good running game for our stats. But the passing outgain though is like 351 to 249. That's what we haven't seen all season for real, except for like the second half of that Green Bay game. Um, you see Ritter's stats. He rushed for a tud, got a tud. Honestly, his stats could have been way better. I know John Smith had a drop and the two fumbles that took away possessions that we was driving on. So, like
Right.
you say, offense does have to do better, scoring more points. Because I mean, defense was holding them down the whole game. Honestly, like I think they was like 4-13 on third downs.
Right.
Yeah, 4-13 on third downs. I think penalty wise, we was a little undisciplined yesterday, but they was undisciplined as well. Like the snap count Ritter was using obviously was something throwing them off because we got like 4 neutral zone infractions on them.
Right.
But like you said, the touchdowns and the turnover differential just is what's going to have to improve. I mean, if we can at least get in field goal range on some of these drives to get three, because it was like, man, it was 7 and they was getting three, then it was 7-3, they got another 3-7-6. They went into halftime, we're down, and honestly, it's like, man, we out playing these guys, but we still down due to the fact they're getting field goals on their possessions and we're not getting anything. So, like you said, but the offense was much improved, so I won't harp on too much of what didn't go right. And I think Arthur Smith had one of his best games as a play caller, just due to the fact like the trick play we did, and that to me is saying like he trying to get that spark in the offense because they kept talking about all week starting fast, starting fast, starting fast. So when you come out and do a trick play early in the game like that, not even to result in a touchdown, but just to pick up a big game, that's saying like you trying to get that spark in your offense, get the spark in the crowd. And
Right.
then you seen Scotty Miller actually be utilized yesterday, even though he really pissed me off on that run he had. Like, dude, just go up the field.
Yeah.
That should have been an easy first down.
Yeah. You got to read your blocks on that play.
Cordell got a little offensive sprinkle yesterday, even though he didn't really do too much, but he's still coming back from that thigh injury. So we just working him in slowly.
Right.
And just to see Pitts in London really be used like the way they were used was great. Any offensive negatives you would say from yesterday that need to be cleaned up?
Honestly,
I agree, Dorian.
of course. Hey, but look though, the thing about it, the only thing that I would say negative about the offense yesterday is just what I said earlier is we need to come up with 7 points or at least 3 points. We can't continue to have ourselves looking like we don't know how to get in the red zone, score in the red zone, and keep their defense on their heels. Because at one point we had the defense on their heels, and then we get the 15-yard penalty by Drew Dalman, and then it essentially puts us out of field goal range when we can go up 2 possessions. Like in that drive, we had to go up 2 possessions, and then the score from CJ Stroud and the guys don't care, and we're running the clock out, and we win the game. But at the same time, I still think like the offense is still trying to find the comfortable spots in the offense where they know those are go-to plays or go-to guys. Ritter's still trying to find his rhythm and still trying to feel where he can actually, be successful in the offense. A lot of the times in our offense, you'll start to see like the same thing, and you can almost call the plays from the stands because you know what Arthur Smith's getting ready to do. Being predictable is something that we struggle with a lot, but I did see a lot of versatility in play calling yesterday as far as the trick plays, reverses, and keeping the defense honest as to what they were doing. Something that I did say in our week 5 preview was that we needed to be a little bit more rhythmic. We needed to get Desmond Ridder in more of a rhythm, running RPOs and running read options and different things like that. And you've seen it in the first half come to fruition when Desmond Ridder scored his first touchdown. On that drive, they had already ran at least 3 RPOs, and it gave them the versatility to be able to say, okay, we got Bajan right here in the background. We got Drake right here on the outside. We got Jonnu coming across the middle. Okay, you got these 3 options. Pick one and let's stick with it. And honestly, when Desmond Ridder needed to throw the ball, he threw the ball. There were a couple of them that he threw that were still a little late, but you can tell he had more anticipation with his throws yesterday. It wasn't more of like a trying to play backyard ball and waiting for all the routes to develop and the plays over with, or you're getting sacked. Like he was clean yesterday. He didn't get sacked at all, which is a credit to the O lineman and a credit to the play calling that allowed him to either get out of the pocket or just throw the ball away if he needed to. Other than that, I can't really say anything negative about the offense.
Yeah, I pretty much hold the same sentiment. Basically, like the turnovers was the biggest negative. Um, I don't really share a problem with how Arthur Smith calls the games generally. Like, yeah, he has those calls in there that's like you don't agree with, but at the end of the day, every team does. I'm pretty sure it's somebody in every fan base that doesn't like the dude calling their plays or doesn't agree with every play they call. But at the end of the day, it's either a play is going to work or it's not. That's generally what makes a play call the right play call or a play call that look appealing to fans.
Right.
And then in a certain way, I think the playbook was a bit limited because of the inexperience at quarterback. And honestly, we just have a young offense in general. Like we have a second-year receiver and running back, a rookie running back, and a third-year tight end. So I mean, it's gonna be those lapses in offense, and then the line is pretty much young outside of Jake Matthews. So it's gonna be those lapses. And like I said, I think the execution was the biggest thing lacking this team these past couple weeks. But yeah, the run blocking I'll say was another negative, just because the interior line wasn't really creating that many gaps. But towards the end of the game, like when you stay consistent with the run game, they'll wear down, and I think we stayed consistent with it, and that just wore them down. Switching over to the positives, I have to say the passing game was like, man, Ritter. For him, I don't know what the future holds for him or what he's going to be, but for him to bounce back like that yesterday, no matter how many times athletes say they don't check social media or they don't let outside noise, like dude had to seen the last 2 weeks how folks was on him. And he had to know his job was pretty much in question if he came out flat with another performance like that, especially at home. And you could hear after the first possession after they went 3-and-out, man, it was booze because like the fans not really having that much patience for Ritter right now.
Right.
But for how he responded yesterday, that shows like he got the guts and just the balls to be a starting quarterback in the league.
Right.
Because he could have easily just lost all confidence and came out looking like straight crap. But like you said, I think Arthur Smith did a good job of getting him in rhythm early. Like the slow starts have played Desmond Ritter since college. Anybody who's been following him knows he generally starts slow. But yeah, like you said, offense got a good rhythm in early. Of course, we've been a fourth quarter team all season, so I pretty much knew the offense was gonna pick up. But man, Drake and Kyle, it's like they can say all they want. They don't want the ball, and we can keep going with this notion that it's not fantasy football. And of course, when you're winning, that might hold some general truth, but these last 2 weeks, can't neither one of them be happy to not get the ball and be losing. So, like, when Drake caught that ball, like the fourth, and he had the helmet off, he was like, that just shows these guys get behind catching the ball, making plays. It's only so much blocking and stuff they can do that's really going to turn them up for real. Like, at the end of the day, he's a pass catcher first.
Right.
Bijan, of course, making one-hand catches again. He's always probably going to be a positive on this show. Like he's even when he didn't have the best rushing game, he still found a way to impact the game. Kyle Pitts again, like I said, play calling Ritter. Those was pretty much the positives that I had on offense. What positives did you have?
So basically, man, the positives I had for the offense, like we said before, there was that balance. It wasn't an obvious balance, but it was a balance that kept us going. The balance that we were looking for, of course, wasn't there early, but staying consistent in play calling and not veering away from what you do best, it actually helped bring us back into the game and made the defense, of course, show their hand more. I think another thing that really had us on a positive note was the fact that their head coach kept declining all of our penalties.
Man, that was so disrespectful to me.
Yeah, so it was just like he was in a sense forcing us to make the third downs that we made and giving his defense a chance to pin their ears back and just rush Ritter, knowing that we you know what I'm saying couldn't in the past couple of games block anybody on third down to keep him off his back. But the fact that we were able to keep Desmond Ridder clean the whole game and he didn't get touched as far as the sack goes, like that just shows like, okay, they heard the noise as well. Another positive that's always been a positive there for us is Bajan. Bajan being the playmaker that he is, I mean, from running, finding the gaps in the defense, making guys miss, breaking 2 tackles at once, like those little things as far as just being a running back make him a gadget player on that offense and give him the upper hand every time he touches the ball. Even on his touchdown, you see him still fumbling with the ball and making the juke move at the same time just to fillet in the in the end zone. Like you don't see any running backs doing that in the league. And most of his catches that he had were with one hand the whole game.
That dude catch with one hand like routinely.
Yeah, and it's just like it's not even. You never
It's
see
not hard for him at all.
Yeah, you never see him go up with 2. It's always just one, and he
Snap
almost
it,
makes no look catches so that he can make that next move on that first defender, and that's just kudos to our scouting and our GM for making that call at 8 because he's a big part of that offense and a big part of what everybody else is able to do based off of the type of game that he's having. Like even when we're losing or have lost the games and stuff like that, he's still there making plays. He's not taking plays off. There's never a play where you say he's taking off. Yes, they did take him out after he fumbled, but that was just to get the bell cow in a stronger back that's a little bit heavier so that he's able to get his mind right and just work him back into the offense. You don't completely kill his confidence because he knows he's going back into the game. And the way he carries the ball, so that's just something that they work on in practice. It's not something that you just hamp on or say, oh, he had a bad game. He threw the game away. Nah, that was actually a good hit as well. Like if you know anything about tackling, if anybody knows anything about tackling, you teach routine. You get low, break down, face mask is on the ball, and you wrap up and you tackle. And it just so happened to be a good tackle by the defensive lineman who put his helmet right on the ball. And if that's what happens when technique comes into play. And another thing for the offense, it was great to see Kyle Pitts, man. It was great to see Kyle Pitts come on the field and have a presence on the field. His 7 catches weren't overlooked. His routes weren't overlooked. You didn't see him falling like everybody was just trying to exploit him. The field in London is not the same as a turf field. It's grass. It's made for soccer players that are sliding like play after play after play. So people that were trying to expose him for the different catches that he would make or different routes that he was running in London, like you don't know what you're talking about as far as like who Kyle Pitts is. And you can even tell he's still not 100% from the injury.
That right leg ain't all the way there. That's why if you look, most of his routes just were out breaking to the left.
Yep. And he was able to sit down in most of his routes.
And that's just a part of the maturity in his game. Like if the athleticism ain't there for the go balls and the drags or whatnot, be a tight end, learn how to sit down in those zones. And that's what he did. And Ritter was throwing with timing. That's one thing everybody has been on him about, looking off the defense, throwing with timing. But y'all got to understand, throwing with timing means folks are sitting down right in the zone. The spacing concepts and the routes are correct. The line is giving him protection. It all go hand in hand. You see how the 2 best games we had pass protection wise, we had the 2 best passing games. That was the Green Bay game where I think he got sacked like once or twice, if not any. And that was the game we played yesterday where he didn't get sacked at all. He had his best passing games. So I think, man, you made a good point about D'Amico Ryans when he was declining the penalties. Like the first time he did it, I'm like, okay, but the second time he did it, it was like, okay, this is a strategy they're doing on purpose. Like they don't think the fact to push us back. They rather make us convert a 3rd and 6. So I was like, I did take that as a slight disrespect. and we made them pay for it each time they did it, which is what you should do as a team. Like when a team is trying you like that, of course we seen the comments Jimmy Ward had about not using the receivers. So we use the receivers, the tight ends, and the fullbacks and the running backs on you.
Nah, for real. For over 300 yards passing and almost 100 yards rushing, that's still like we stepped on the defense, man.
And I'll just say before we move on to the next like little banner, man, for y'all who's had a problem with drafting Bijan and y'all excuse or rationale was Tyler Algier, we got Algier, bro. They are nowhere near in the same realm of players, bro. And that's not a disrespect to Tyler Algier, but he is not Bijan. He cannot do the things Bijan does. And of course, Algier got some things he do better than Bijan, but that's why they complement each other very well. You don't have to just have one good player in the area and say we're not going to attack that area no more. Because look at Cordell being out these weeks. Imagine if we didn't have Bijan. We would have been stuck to Algier and probably a practice squad guy. And honestly, Algier probably having the worst stretch of his career these last 3 games. And that might be a testament to the line. That might be him hitting the gap too slow because honestly, it don't really look like Bijan go backwards that much when he got the ball. He going to get 2 or 3.
Yep.
At least. He going to shake somebody for 2 or 3. But, yeah, it was plenty positives on the offensive side of the ball. Now it's just about staying consistent. I don't expect Ritter to throw for 300 every week, but we can't have the going back to the bad these last 2 games. He just need to get that out of his head because it was terrible. But who would you give your offensive MVP to? I'm gonna just say Ritter. I don't know if you oppose that or if you want to just be different and say somebody else. But I mean, it's plenty of options. But I'm gonna just say Ritter just for the fact of like I said, with the narrative around his job security these last 2 weeks for him to bounce back like that showed me a lot. So,
right. I mean, I would also go with Ritter, but just for the sake of stream, man, I would say I would have to say Kyle Pitts because every single catch that he made
seemed like it was the first down. Yeah, it seemed like he was moving the chains every time.
Moved the chains every time. Like every time he got up, you just seen him like first down. It's another Falcons first down, and it's just like. Okay, from going from 1 to 2 catches in the game to no catches in the game to coming out and having 7 catches and you're moving the chains 87 yards, like you're averaging like 10 to 12 yards per catch. You know what I'm saying? So we can't overlook that at all because even though he didn't get the yards after catch that everybody wants, the tackle breaking and all that stuff like that, he's still not 100%. And for him to be as competent as he is in just making the catch first and worrying about whatever comes next last, it just shows a testament to his maturity, like you said, in the league.
Yeah, he's sure-handed for sure. He had that one on the sideline that I thought he could have brought in. It wasn't just the easiest of plays, but I definitely think he's that caliber of player. He could have made that play, but besides that, I didn't see any drops. I know he had 11 targets. They wasn't all on him. They was incomplete. So, defensive negatives. I'll just say the pass rush and the no turnovers. Even though CJ Stroud is like very careful with the ball, he hasn't thrown a pick yet. I think he just broke the record against us for most pass attempts without throwing a pick by a rookie.
Right.
So I'm not really tripping on the fact at the same time, it's like as a defense, you do have to force the turnover. Like the offense is not just going to give you the turnover. So you do have to make a play. Jesse Bates came close to making one. Man,
he broke on that. So smooth. It was just like he was about to take it. But when you fight through contact like that, you just have to automatically know like it's going to eventually happen. But I do think that I don't know who we had inactive as a defensive lineman. That's been TQ.
Yeah, TQ was inactive. But the other dude we brought up, I like he was flashing out.
He was he was being stout in the run game. He had plenty of tackles on the inside where the running back was only gaining 2 yards. Running back was only gaining 3 yards because to the point where they had to double team him when they had the run heavy set in there. I think so. So far, like the only negative I would say, as you said already, is just like we don't have that sack master. Like we don't have that guy that's gonna come in and like people have to worry about where he's at on the field. Like at first we thought it was gonna be Grady, but the fact that we have names around him, people are still keying in on Grady Jarrett because you got a 16-year vet on the outside of him. That's okay with getting to the quarterback. He hasn't gotten his 100
He's
sack
giving
yet.
us a lot in the run game, but as far as the pass rush game, he ain't really giving us nothing for real.
Right. I don't see him getting that 100 sack until we play or blitz a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like that's another thing too. I don't for us to be as good as we are on defense without blitzing, I don't think we blitz enough. Like on some downs, I believe that we get beat because we don't blitz because they have too much time. Quarterbacks have too much time in the pocket. And yesterday, I seen even though we contained Stroud to only one rush outside the pocket, like it just showed like, hey, like the way we're rushing and the way they're protecting, like we have to rush the passer a lot more. We bluffed a lot of blitzes we could have brought.
Well, I already knew, like we already talked about it before the game. Like I brought up the point of him being the best quarterback in the league against man coverage. So, like we said, Ryan Nielsen made the adjustment to either play man and go strength on strength or play zone, and that's what he did. But when you don't get that pressure up front, when you're playing zone on the back end, somebody eventually gonna find an open spot on the field.
Right. That's
But
when
I
that's when
think
they
for the
started
most
gashing
part,
us. Really, if you want to be honest,
I
that's when they
think for
started
the most
gashing us.
part, a passing game was I think for the most part, a passing game was under control
Yep.
because they like to do a lot of in breaking routes and the inside people, man. Uh, I do have a portion on this defensive MVP. I'm gonna just go ahead and shout him out. I'm gonna go D Alford because man, D Alford, Clark Phillips might not see the field because how good D Alford is playing in that slot, man. And it's like
Right.
he's small, but he's physical as hell in the run game. And to be a nickel corner, you got to be because nickel is pretty much base package nowadays in the NFL.
Yep.
And he coming up in the run game, he making pass breakups. Like he just playing out his mind right now. Um,
Right.
but yeah, I think a trade can be swung for a pass rusher, Daniil Hunter or somebody like Chase Young. But that's the thing. This only thing the defense missing for real is a pass rush off the edge to get pressure. Once we get that, it's over with. Because the
Yep.
run, we holding folks in check in the run game, and our passing defense is phenomenal. Like you said, we just don't have that pass rush, and we could stand to force a little bit more turnovers. But of
Exactly.
course, when you don't force, the pressure is there, but the sacks aren't there. But when you're not getting sacks, they go hand to hand. If we had more of a pass rusher, we would get more turnovers because that allows your DBs to be more aggressive or whatnot. But as far as negatives go, you really can't say nothing about the defense yesterday. That last drive that they got a touchdown, that was about it. As far as positives go, I think we pretty much like named them out. I can't believe we got a good defense, bro. Like it's just such a new feeling. Like
Right.
to like know when your defense get out there, it's like we're gonna get a 3 and out. We're gonna get a stop. They gonna get a field goal. That's it.
Yep.
Then like man, CJ Stroud just played Jags and the Steelers, who the Jazz defense been better these last 2 weeks over in London, and the Steelers always got a tough defense. And look what he did to them. So of course we didn't get the respect of stopping him, but that's exactly what we did. We stopped him. Um, who else was a positive in this game? Nate Landman, bro. Oh my god,
Mm-hmm. Yes,
dude
sir.
is a
Team
natural
in tackles.
linebacker. He's a natural linebacker for real.
Yep.
What he lacks in athleticism that Troy Anderson might have over him, he got the instincts of a natural linebacker. So he's always in the right spot. My only concern is Ryan Nielsen, man. Ryan Nielsen keep coaching like this, he gonna mess around and get a head coaching position somewhere.
That's mine too, bro.
Hey, out of your Falcon mindset, even fellas D-balled out. That's all we're missing. Get a legit beast on the edge. Hey man,
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
y'all being in the stream. We would definitely
Appreciate
want to
y'all.
collab with y'all boys. So y'all drop some contact information down below so we can get up with y'all for sure. But
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
a beast on the edge is all we missing for real, literally. So I
Yeah.
think we should make that trade because we did clear cap space like what a couple weeks ago, and we never made a move. So I think that's all we missing right now.
Right. And shout out to
Um,
Out Your Falcon Mind. They just reached 1,000 subscribers on YouTube.
oh yeah, shout out to them boys. Yeah, definitely try to get a collab in. So yeah, I went D Alpha for my MVP. Which way you going with yours?
I would give it to the whole defensive secondary, man, because CJ Stroud being the man at quarterback that he is, you don't normally like a Falcons defense of the past. He would have probably thrown for almost 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, for no like he would have looked like a superstar.
Yep.
But he came out there and did what he was known to do, but we had a bend but don't break mentality on defense. And even when the defensive back seeing guys catching their ball in front of them or making catches in traffic or whatever and still holding on, it didn't stop them from jamming at the line of scrimmage or playing through the contact of the wide receiver and still playing with the route. Mike Hughes stepped in for a whole drive, like the drive when they scored that touchdown. He stood in the whole drive while AJ was still in the tent.
Man, how that feel to have a backup corner come in and not even really be concerned for real? Because we actually, well, if Trey Flowers would have came in, I ain't gonna lie, I probably would have felt a little type of way.
Man,
But
I would have been a little nervous with Trey
yeah,
Flowers out there, but like,
Okuda need a shout out too, though, man. Because this,
yes, sir. He's ready to say Okuda, man, for him to shut down his side of the field and have AJ shut down his side of the field to the point where they had to run crossing routes to get their receivers open.
that's the only way they
It's
could get
just
open for real was play action crossing routes. That's the only thing they could do.
Yep. And it just showed like, hey, we not playing the same brand of football that we've been playing in the past. Everything is starting to come like naturally for these guys. They're starting to see like, hey, he's gonna do his job, let me do my job. He's gonna do his job, okay, let me do my job. It's no more like, dang, bro, is he gonna do his job? So I gotta do my job and his job, or dang, bro, he known for getting beat, bro. I gotta keep looking over here or keep worrying about that, and then your man get past you. It's no more pointing fingers on defense. It's everybody got their job, and you even seen on the play where Jesse Bates almost got the pick. AJ had him in the zone and passed him off to him.
Yep.
Like, so it was just like it looked like it was open, but as soon as Jesse broke on the ball, I was like, okay, here this pick come right here. Man. I had just told a guy in my section that was sitting behind me, he was like, man, the defense is getting ready to get something, man. I said, it's probably going to be a pick. Watch out for Jesse Bates. And it almost came true, but you know what I'm saying? I would rather it be a pass breakup than a catch and a good tackle. You know what I'm saying? Because
now
the pass breakup,
he put that fear in Stroud head after that play. Like, okay,
exactly.
Let me not throw over the middle against this guy. Because
exactly,
and the crowd,
we've been missing on the back end.
We just took the lead, man. The crowd was amped, like loud as it's been all game, man. He would have got that pick, brother. The roof was already open, but
the roof would have probably closed again.
But my boy Trey Dixon said, man, I said we go after Brian Burns next year in free agency to help on the edge, and we'll be set. I'm with it.
Hey.
I don't see him staying in Carolina, to be honest, unless they decide to pay him, which they didn't do this offseason. So if they being even worse than they are now, why would they pay him this next offseason?
I mean, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he takes less money and asks them folks for a trade mid-season or Terry Fonten. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody's on the phone right now trying to find out what's the asking price for this guy. Like, you guys haven't won a game yet, and he hasn't made anything shake on your end. So let's see what's going on.
Boys ain't got no first round pick, so they just being sorry for no reason because they don't have a first round pick. They trade that to Chicago. So yeah, I'll definitely call in about B Burns for sure. Looking ahead though, as we wrap it up, we 3-2 now. Next game at home against Washington. So before I know we doing a little preview of this game with Smitty on Wednesday, but just a quick little prediction or whatnot, or just looking ahead at this game. What do you see with this matchup?
Okay. So without looking too far back of last week, I think looking ahead to this game, you have to look at how Chicago just whooped up on these guys. Like out of everybody that just like Chicago just put up 40 on their defense with the amazing defensive front that they have front seven. They went and ran the ball against these guys and threw the ball like wherever they wanted to throw it. I think people forget Eric Bieniemy isn't the defensive coordinator. He's the offensive coordinator. So their offense is going to look different than years past, but that defense is still the Ron Rivera defense of where they've been in past years as well.
Man, we've been slapping Ron Rivera around for years.
Yes, sir. So hey, we gotta go into this game with the mindset of, and he can't come into this game thinking that we're the same Falcons, because we're not. Our defense and their defense, like, it's not comparable because they have a good front seven. We have a good front seven and a good unit. Their DBs are not as good as people may think that they're good. And the only people that's making plays is the defensive line. So if we go in using all our weapons, putting them on display like we did Sunday, we come out, run the ball first. Then we use a lot of our weapons to keep them honest on what they're doing. I mean, we might be in for a good blowout at home, or we send them boys home in the third quarter. So I want to see us come out confident off of what we've seen us be able to do, and still keep the same swag of we can't get beat. We can't lose at home, because you keep the home cooking undefeated, it's going to be a tough place to play in Atlanta come playoff time.
Yeah, man, I'm just glad we actually got a home field advantage, and I did do a couple of deets and duts little research that I'm gonna pull out for the stream we do with Smitty, like I said. But 9-3 in the last, it says 2022 at home right now. So we, in the 3 games we lost at home, was the Chargers lost by 3, the Steelers lost by 3, and the Saints when they came back on us week 1 last year. So easily could all be wins. Yep. But like you said, I don't really see this game as being close. Like, if we do what we need to do, I'm not gonna say we're gonna be a 300 passing yard offense every week. I know it's gonna be ups and downs with this young quarterback. Like I said, though, can we get some type of middle ground of consistency? You don't have to be absolutely terrible, and you don't have to be great every week. We just need you to be the middle ground, be the point guard offense. What we heard all season, he just needs to get the ball out to playmakers. Like you said, start fast. We can send these guys home early. Only thing I'll say is, like you said, they get whooped up pretty bad on Thursday night. They do get that extra little slick mini bye week to get right. So they've been focused on us for a minute. So they coaching should come out better, because they had a longer time to really get their adjustments up through there for us. But like you said, the defensive line on their team is their strength. So we can if we can run the ball on them, I don't really want to get in too many passing sets on these guys, because, man, they do got pass rushers for days on their team, especially that starting 4. But our O-line going to have to handle their business. Defense, I'm not even worried about. Like, from now on, when we talk about games, like, I'm not worried about the defense at all.
Yep.
It will be an interesting coaching matchup, Ryan Nielsen and Eric Bieniemy, because Bieniemy is doing a good job over there with them boys. But Washington kind of reeling right now. They lost their last 3 after starting 2-0. So they almost kind of got to – they're going to come out desperate. We know that. But we got to come out desperate as well, because for us to get our next 2 games after this is on the road. Right. So in a perfect world, like, I would hope we win this game, be at 4-2, and then split the next 2 on the road. I'm not expecting us to win both on the road, at least split 1. So, yeah, this is a pivotal game for us. Yeah, but like you said, I'm not really seeing the threat of the Commanders, to be honest. I think this might be the sweetest team we played all season besides Carolina.
Right.
But you do got to respect your opponent. If we come out slow on offense and bull jiving, this game can be closer than what it need to be. And that's really the only thing I see with this game is it being one of those games that's closer than what it needs to be. I don't really see it being a loss. I just see it being closer than what it need to be. But wrapping it up though, man. I'm glad we got the win.
Right. Got another dub.
We are gonna be on stream again on Wednesday, previewing the matchup against the Commanders. So y'all in the chat, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. We're gonna try to keep the content coming more consistently.
Yes, sir.
And, hey man, that's all we got for y'all today.
Sir.